They had the Grizz cornered. Late the previous day, after interrupting the massive bear's feed on a young beef he'd dragged away from one of the ranches out on the flat, they'd driven him into a wide-mouthed box canyon in the Vieja foothills. Before they were able to get a clear shot at him, though, he disappeared into the underbrush and trees back deep in the canyon. Since going into a thicket after a riled Grizz ranked almighty close to a death wish, they decided instead to back off and settle for waiting him out. With high steep cliffs rising out of the thicket on three sides, the bear had only one way to go when he got thirsty enough or hungry enough or mad enough at the thought of that half-eaten beef he'd been chased away from. And when he made his move, they'd be ready. Hopefully. "I'd be a sight more comfortable if this canyon mouth was narrower," stated Jim Moosejaw Hendricks, squinting against the early morning sunlight angling down out of the east. He was a big man, massive through the shoulders, thick-torsoed, 6.5 feet in height. His broad, fleshy face showed its share of wear and weathering, yet still belied his nearly 50 years of age. Standing next to him, Malachi Beartooth Skinner arched a brow and replied, "Hell, if you're going to wish for comfort, why not go all the way and wish we was home in our beds instead of camped out here in the path of an ornery grizzly we've gone out of our way to piss off?" Skinner was right at the 50 mark, age-wise, maybe a year or two one way or the other. He'd lost exact count somewhere along the way. He stood an even 6 feet tall, was built lean and leathery, with a narrow, slightly wedge-shaped face tapering down to a deeply dimpled chin that seemed well-suited to the wide, roguish grin he tended to frequently display. A few feet away from this pair, straightening up from having just poured himself a cup of coffee out of the big pot simmering on the coals at the edge of their campfire, Elwood Firestick McQueen glanced over at his two companions and said, "Sounds to me like you two are getting soft, wasting time wishing this and hoping for that. You'd think we've been roughing it out here for a month of Sundays instead of for only one night."